golden boy, the GOAT, Tom Brady, getting blasted by one of his most ardent supporters in the media, Skip Bayless, who's calling Tom Brady a liar. Tom Brady is, saying he didn't have anything to. Well, Skip Bayless believes that Tom Brady was directly involved in the Raiders not selecting Shedeur Sanders in the draft, thus exacerbating Shedeur Sanders' fall in the draft. Skip Bayless believes that Tom Brady was directly involved in the Raiders not selecting Shedeur, and Tom Brady's denial of such has Skip Bayless calling him a liar because he's saying that it is clear and obvious that Tom Brady played a direct hand in Shedeur's draft stock sliding. So this is interesting to me because the greatest cheerleader in the media for Tom Brady in my lifetime was always Skip Bayless. So this says Tom Brady is a two-faced hypocrite, says Skip Bayless in blistering new attack over Shedeur Sanders. Tom Brady is a two-faced hypocrite whose nose is going to grow if he continues to deny any involvement in Shedeur Sanders' NFL draft humiliation, according to Skip Bayless. Speaking on his FanDuel podcast, the 73-year-old pundit and Deion Sanders loyalist once again accused Las Vegas Raiders minority owner of instructing the team's front office to ignore Coach Prime's son in last month's draft. Ultimately, the second-generation football star was taken by the Browns with the 14th overall pick after initially being traded by Bayless and many others as a first-round talent. Subsequent reports claiming Shedeur botched interviews and appeared arrogant with NFL teams have served to explain his downfall to some degree. To Bayless, though, the Raiders seemed like a good fit for Shedeur, who already has a business relationship with Brady. One of his first NIL deals was with the NFL Legends TB12 health and apparel brand. Furthermore, Brady has mentored Shedeur going back to the young quarterback's high school days in the Dallas area, making the 7-time Super Bowl winner the perfect person to evaluate Shedeur for the Raiders. And not only did the team have several chances to take Shedeur, but the Raiders also have a capable starter in Geno Smith who could serve as a mentor to the young quarterback. Brady recently denied having any role in the Raiders' draft plans, which Bayless finds so unbelievable that he is beginning to question the retired quarterback's past statements on the Deflategate scandal. So let me get out of this and let us play some sound here that pretty much encapsulates this entire story, which includes Skip Bayless flat out calling Tom Brady a liar because he believes that it is undeniable that Tom Brady played a direct role in plummeting Shedeur Sanders' draft stock.
Elephant in the room, Shedeur Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go?
Can you turn it up more? Or?
Yeah.
I mean,
Let me back up. I hit the wrong volume button. All right, so here we go.
Elephant in the room, Shedeur Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go so late in the draft?
I mean, it's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or
Skip Bayless says
that.
otherwise.
No. Well, everyone's got that's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the they want. I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, like whatever happens, wherever you go, like that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199.
Yeah.
So who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Yeah. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it.
Tom, you know, and I know everything I said about you and Shedeur Sanders is obviously exactly right. I said on the Skip Bayless show, and I tweeted several times, that Tom Brady obviously played a role in the Raiders passing on Shedeur Sanders 7 times in the draft before finally Cleveland took him, as you know, early in the 5th round. 7 times the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders. Yet when Tom Brady was asked on the Jake Paul podcast why Shedeur fell so far, he stammered for a second. And then he said, that's a good question. And then Tom said, I wasn't part of any evaluation process or to see that. I guess meaning that he wasn't at all a part of the Raiders draft process. So he wasn't privy to any inside information about why Shedeur fell so far, so fast. Tom Brady on Jake Paul's podcast blasted me for saying he obviously told Raiders GM John Spytek not to draft Shedeur. That's my opinion. That's my take. And I know I'm right. So I fired back at Tom Brady, pointing out that Spytek, his former teammate at Michigan, had said before the draft that the Raiders would be fools not to ask Tom Brady, now Raiders owner, about quarterbacks they were considering in the draft. They'd be absolute fools not to ask Tom Brady about quarterbacks. I mean, Brady's the obvious GOAT. How many times have I said that on the airwaves over the last 10 years? Yeah, right, Tom. And you didn't fumble on that tuck rule play. So Tom, now don't go smiling assassin on Shedeur. Don't still try to be his mentor, his big brother, his best friend. Don't keep telling him to show them all how wrong they were about you, just the way I did. Tom, you were part of them all. You were part of those who didn't believe in Shedeur. So he needs to show you, Tom, not them. Don't show them all. You are part of them all. Don't be a two-faced hypocrite. You, Tom, are now part of the NFL power structure as an owner, as a broadcaster. Don't try to play both sides against the middle. Tom, I'm pretty sure Shedeur is on to you now.
Damn, Skip.
Jeez Louise, man. What a heel turn.
Yeah, right?
What a heel turn. Jeez Louise. Two-faced hypocrite.
That's pretty strong, man. Coming from Skip, man. Because honestly, bro, like, what do the kids say now? Glazing. Skip literally invented glazing just for Tom Brady. Now, he talking about some 10 years. Bro, this has been going on for 2 decades. All right, where you're basically going crazy for Tom Brady. And much like how LeBron did with what's your boy name? Wendy. Basically just dunking on him like the guy's a loser. Here comes Tom Brady basically saying that, you know, Skip Bayless said it. This guy, honestly, whether you like it or not, Tom, he was part of the media push that made you the GOAT in the first place. So I would think that he'd have a little bit more empathy. But again, one thing that Golden Boy can't have happen on his watch is him to be not perfect. And for Skip to call him out in his obvious hypocrisy here, I actually feel as though this is actually hilarious. This is to me, I mean, I would have never thought I'd see the day. But I agree with Skip. I don't see how. I mean, the way that when he asked him the question, as if you didn't get a transcript of everything he was going to ask you, bro. I figured that at least Tom Brady would do that. But the question seemed to caught him off guard, like he wasn't expecting that question. So he didn't have a answer for such a question. But yeah, he did stutter and stammer there, and he was basically like, "Oh shit, they asked me this. Hey, look, I didn't have anything to do with it. It was obvious cap." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was clearly obvious Tom was lying. What did he tell those owners? Who knows? But it wasn't strong enough to make him draft him. And I don't feel as though it's a situation where Tom had to put in a good word. I don't think Tom was obligated at all. But at the same time, you know, there is this thing going around where it does look like he's playing both sides in a sense that, hey man, I'm gonna look out for you. I'm gonna do this for you. I'm that. Even though I don't think he's actually putting it on, it's part of one of his many side quests that he does. So he never it was always something that was like a feather in his cap. Let's look at Tom Brady. He's even mentoring, whatever, Shedeur Sanders. Oh, that's so great. So yeah, but when it actually came to it and he actually showed how much he supports, yeah, it wasn't really there. I'm not saying that he had to, but the perfect Tom Brady narrative, he would have drafted Shedeur. So yeah, Skip calling him out, I find it hilarious. Tom Brady just dunking on him like, yo, F that guy, basically. Never thought I'd hear him even speak on Skip because he kind of didn't. The guy brought him up, but still, all of me is this is all very interesting. But I don't think Skip is off base here when it comes to Golden Boy. This is something he would have done. And I agree with Skip in the sense that, yeah, he's still going to play both sides and say, hey, man, prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. And yeah, Tom is one of them now. So I agree, man. But what are your thoughts, man, on Skip Bayless going damn near scorched earth on Tom Brady? What are your thoughts, man?
I think Skip Bayless is basing his theory completely off of circumstantial evidence. None of it really connects unless you force it to connect.
That's true.
So listen, man, if you squint hard enough, you can connect enough dots to make anything sound logical. And again, I'm not privy enough when it comes to the business of the NFL to know for sure how involved a minority owner would be in any draft process, even if the minority owner is Tom Brady, because there's a sizable difference between a minority owner and a majority owner. I would be much more inclined to believe that Tom Brady had something to do with the Raiders electing not to draft Shedeur if he was like somewhere else in the front office, like a pro personnel position, vice president of player personnel, or something that had to do with the front office and the executive office and the general manager's office and all of that. I'd be much more likely to think that he has something to do with it at that point. Now, that's not to say that he didn't. It is to say, though, that all of this to me sounds way too circumstantial. And it's just Skip Bayless gas bagging again. At the end of the day, he's just gas bagging to me, and I just will never, for the life of me, ever take him seriously. He invented this art of gas bagging. He is one of the forefathers of it, the godfather of it, if you will. And he continues to peddle it very effectively. And who would deny that his claims aren't at least somewhat palpable given who he's talking about? Because if you've been paying attention to Skip Bayless thus far throughout his career, you know that he has been suckling at the teat of Tom Brady for the last 20, 25 years. So for him to go so far as to now call the guy a two-faced hypocrite or whatever he said, towards the guy that he's been glazing all this time, where there's smoke, there must be fire. Because why else would Skip Bayless, who loves Tom Brady so much, ever fix his face to claim that Tom Brady was doing something even remotely malfeasant? So I kind of feel like all of this is circumstantial. The business of the NFL is what it is. I don't know what Tom Brady did or didn't do. I don't know. All of it is circumstantial. I do think, I will say this though about Tom Brady. I think LeBron does it more, and I think LeBron does it more egregiously. But I do think that Tom Brady has some of that petty passive aggressive in him, where he will create an environment in which something is definitely going to happen. And then when he happens, he engages in his plausible deniability, like, oh, I didn't have nothing to do with that. That's their job. I don't do, like, LeBron to me is worse than Brady. But I do feel like Brady has done it, like with his TB12 trainer guy and all of that, and that whole incident. And even going down to Deflategate and just total deniability, like I didn't have nothing to do with that. That was all coaches. Like, you don't feel the ball and know that there's something weird about the ball, bro. So it's like, I feel like him and LeBron both do this passive aggressive thing where it's like, I'm going to create a situation in which something is guaranteed to happen. And then when it happens, because technically that's not my job, I'm just going to be Mr. Plausible Deniability guy and just shirk responsibility and say, I don't do that. I just show up to work. That's their job. So I do think Tom Brady has from time to time done that. It's not as bad as LeBron though. LeBron is the absolute worst at that kind of stuff. When it comes to roster stuff, getting coaches fired, throwing owners under the bus, throwing GMs under the bus, players on the roster under the bus, orchestrating trades, and then saying, I had nothing to do with that. LeBron does that all day, every day. That's his main MO. I do think Tom Brady has done it to a certain degree. So from that standpoint, anything's possible. Another thing that I did want to bring up, and this is where I will agree with Skip Bayless. Tom Brady being somebody who is now involved in ownership for an NFL franchise, yeah, he is now a part of the cabal.
Yeah, he is.
He is now a part of the cabal. He is a part. He is a part of the power structure, which means when the NFL gets lumped in with controversy, and when the NFL has to deal with all of that annoying stuff that owners hate dealing with, Rooney Rule stuff, injustice stuff, social issues, collusion stuff, cheating scandals, stuff like this with Shedeur sliding in the draft, like that all gets lumped underneath the umbrella of, the cabal, the organized crime syndicate that is the NFL and NFL ownership. And now Tom Brady's going to be a part of that. He's not going to be able to sidestep that because he's now a part of NFL ownership. So he is no longer going to be able to get away with coming out unscathed every single time there's controversy. At some point, something's going to happen with the Raiders organization where he's going to have to step his foot in some mud because he's a part of the outfit. And he's not going to be able to sidestep that. And that's the price that you pay for getting into bed with the cabal. But it is what it is. So that part I will agree with Skip Bayless on. He is indeed a part of the power structure, and he will be forever intertwined with the cabal unless he decides to sell his minority stake, which I highly doubt he will.
Yeah, man. And I'll just double down and double back on my point of, Tom didn't have to do this. Nowhere in, he said, even when he texted Shedeur, he said, what did he say? Hey, man, no matter where you go, okay? So with him saying that, basically saying, we're not going to pick you. So I think that's what I'm saying. Like, look, man, I even text the guy basically like, hey, man, wherever you end up going to, whatever.
Give him hell.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, wait a second here. And that's like that's just one of those things of, I do have somebody in my network that's really plugged in, and I'm looking for work or, a recommendation or something like that from you, letter of recommendation. And then you reach out to that person and say, hey, man, can I get a letter of recommendation? And then they send me an email basically saying, hey, man, I know it's not easy finding somebody out there, but I trust that you're going to find somebody out there. But you basically told me that you're not going to sign my letter of recommendation, And so, that's like you said, that's Tom Brady all the way. I expect him to send that text to basically Shedeur, basically saying, hey, man, no matter where you go during the draft or maybe before, hey, whoever decides to pick you. So, yeah, man. So if that wasn't writing on the wall enough, that's a passive aggressive way of saying I ain't going to pick you up. So, don't put it past him. So, but again, there's nothing obligating him to do it. He was going to get drafted somewhere. We were hoping. I was like, hey, at some point it got to a point where, like, damn, will he even get drafted? But he clearly belongs in the league. He clearly has the talent. Whether he's a day one, blow him out the water guy, it may not be the case. It might be year 2, year 3, year 4. Who knows with this young man? But he definitely has the ability to play the quarterback position in the NFL. So, I do think he's going to prove him wrong. I'm pretty sure if I were Shedeur, I probably knew who I was dealing with anyway. Yeah, because again, before you sent that letter of recommendation, you already knew that guy and how he rolls. He ain't going to, put his neck out there for me, So I'm pretty sure still he's lumped into the them category. And I do hope he proves these haters wrong, man. I do think he belongs in this league. Should he be a day one starter? Who knows? But yeah, man, Skip is just being hilarious. I thought this was funny because yeah, he even went to the Deflategate thing. He said what you said. He was basically saying, you know, given all of this stuff now, maybe in the Deflategate, maybe I don't know. Maybe you did know. I said, damn, boy, he went to Tuck Rule, he went to Deflategate. So he's sending all the little buzz things out there to Tom, and you know, petty Skip Bayless, man. You know, the ratings are low apparently. So he got to do what he got to do.
He's such a gas bag. I can't get down with Skip. He's such a gas bag.
Oh man,
He's
funny
such
dude.
a. I don't know how involved a minority owner is in
I don't
any
think
draft
much.
process.
But if I had Tom Brady on my thing,
I know that's the thing about it. That's what makes it unique. Is what happens when the minority owner is, you know, who many believe is the greatest quarterback ever.
I would
So
ask.
that's what makes it different. Yeah.
I would ask. I don't think he's the best. I still would ask his ass.
Right.
He still played at a high level.
Hey man, look, man, whatever with Skip. Skip's a gas bag and good riddance when he decides to hang it up. I don't care. I don't care. That guy can go kick rocks.
Yeah, for sure.